A couple of miles further down this path behind me, there is a waterfall with a secret. It's one of the most frequently visited, maybe fair to say, one of the most significant waterfalls in the north of England. But why? Well, there are two main reasons. Number one, you can walk behind it, underneath the actual fall itself, which is pretty awesome, let's face it. Who doesn't want to do that? And number two, inside that space, in the middle of the fall, there is a strange anomaly, something that tells of a long history and a big story. So today we're going to do a bit of investigation, try and unpack the mystery behind the waterfall. We're going to explore a little bit as we're walking around here, and later on in this video there's going to be a giveaway as well. Plenty of things to see, so come along with me and let's have a bit of an adventure. Now today we're walking along something called the Ingleton Waterfalls Trail. It's in North Yorkshire, unsurprisingly just over the river from the village of Ingleton, and we're starting our journey walking northbound along the River Twiss. I quite like the name Twiss. I don't know why, I just find it kind of funny. There's not too much to say about the River Twiss. Apparently it comes from the Old English word Twizzler, which is even funnier to me. I don't know why. Twizzler just kind of sounds like some modern day slang from 2025, or the name of a chocolate bar or an ice cream or something. But the meaning of Twizzler is a piece of land carved by the fork of a river, which makes a lot of sense actually, because we've got the nearby Twistleton and Twistleton Farm. And a little bit later on in this video, we're going to head eastwards and come back along the River Doe, both of which join together, continuing southward from here as the River Greta. Oh, and before I forget, I'm going to record the walking distance today. Let's set that going, record walk, so I'll let you know how far we end up going. In case you've never been here before, this is a private trail and there is an entry fee, just to let you know. Now some of you might be thinking, hold on, this is nature. Why is there an entry fee? And I hear you. In this case though, it's for good reason. Sorry, just like, I'm almost talking too much to miss the views here, sorry. What a cool place though. Now the environment here tells a lot of stories, and this is one of them. We're on something right now called the South Craven Faults, and it shows the history of earthquakes, something which doesn't really happen around here anymore. There's not a lot of seismic movement around Yorkshire these days, but at one point in time there was, and this is evidence of that. This sloping land here is the consequence of an earthquake, and you can see the way it's sloping down here towards the fault line. If you're into your geology, wildlife, nature, history, you'll probably spot things around this trail that I totally miss, because there's a lot here. Now, as well as lots of ancient history, stories of past worlds, there's something else a bit further on this trail that some of you might recognize if you've been on this channel for a little while. And I've got a feeling it's just around this corner. Now we saw one of these a couple of months ago now, probably, on the Bolton Abbey estate. So we're not going to dive into the history, the folklore again. You can find out more about those stories in that video, but I think this one's an even better example. Referred to as a number of things, a money tree, a coin tree, a wishing tree. This looks way older than the one at Bolton Abbey. These have been here for a long time. Now, one question that came up a lot in that last video was whether the tree was alive when the coins were hammered into it. Did the tree die because of the coins? And thankfully, in both of these cases, the answer is no. You really should not be hammering coins into a living tree. And some people would say you shouldn't really hammer them into a dead tree either, leaving them in the environment. But it's a little bit late in this case. Once again, there is a rock here in case you want to have a go. The biggest challenge here is going to be finding some space because it's really densely covered. And a lot of people asked last time, what kind of coins are in here? And to be honest, it gets difficult to tell. We've got a 2p here, 20p, 10p, 1p. Can't see anything super rare. Ooh, oh no, that's a 1p. We've got a spider. So in answer to the second question, are there any rare coins in here? Probably not, but who knows? Okay, let's carry on with our journey. Now these waterfalls would be a great place for a drone flight, I think. Something I'm currently saving up for to try and use on future videos on this channel. As well as some bigger trips traveling further afield. That's about all I can say for now. And that's why we've got some help in today's video, which is sponsored by Readly. Now Readly is an app which offers you access to over 8,000 magazines and newspapers. And for anybody watching this video, they've kindly offered us 2 months free access, cancel any time. And for me at least, there's a couple of things that I genuinely really like about Readly. One of them in particular, like right now, is that I can download and read magazines offline, which if you're ever in the middle of nowhere, which I am quite often, weirdly, or if you're traveling on a long train journey, you can get offline copies and read them anywhere. If you're a regular person at home and you're not traveling all the time out in the hills or the fields, they've got pretty much any category you can think of. But for me in particular, I've been looking on here for some new stories, new video subjects. So I've kind of saved anything to do with history, the outdoors. We've got Countryside magazine. There's all kinds of stuff in here really. This is not a magazine I would have ever picked up actually, but I found some interesting stuff in here. We've got World Heritage sites, going underground. There are going to be some cave videos coming up soon on this channel actually, so that's going to be useful. What else we got? Natural History Museum. This one I kind of mostly got captivated by the photos, because what is that? And I'm going to have to resist the urge to read further, but these are on my saved list. And I have actually found a couple of locations for upcoming videos, so it's been pretty useful for me. So a lot of cool features. And if you're interested, you can scan the QR code on screen, check the comments in the description or the pinned comment, and get 2 months of free access, cancel anytime. And now that we're one step closer to a drone, let's carry on, see if we can find this waterfall. So this whole trail is a private trail. It's on a private estate with an entry fee, and it didn't open to the public until 1885. And we'll kind of see why as we're going around, and it's really because it wouldn't be very accessible without some human intervention. We're going to have to cross the river at a few points. Pretty difficult unless you're a professional with some high-grade equipment. But luckily now we've got bridges. And we're going to be walking alongside some of the waterfalls as well, which without handrails and maintenance would be, I mean, it'd be exciting. It'd definitely be exciting, but there might be some casualties as well. So I think in this instance, the entry fee is pretty fair. Whether the cost is fair or not, that's a personal question. If you're an adult, you're going to be paying £11, and for children, it's £5.50. So we saw a little bit of the Craven Faults back near the beginning of the trail. There are also two let me get this right, SSSIs along this route. That's Site of Special Scientific Interest, I think that's right. So there are two woodlands here designated as SSSIs, ancient woodlands I believe, and that designation basically means they're more protected than they would be otherwise. So they're not going to get cleared out for new homes or anything like that. And before we get to our main destination, which is a waterfall called Thornton Force, we're going to be passing Pecca Falls. It kind of looks like a path, does it not? Yeah, we'll be getting to Pecca Falls soon. It's just caught my eye, apologies. And Pecca Falls is actually a collection of 5 waterfalls. You know, the further I get up here, the more I think this was not a path. Ugh. Yeah, I don't think this is for the public. But why does it look like a path if it's not? I think that's just a path to danger. Maybe let's leave that. Ugh. Before I go tumbling down here. Okay, this was actually a bad idea. You know when you see signs in places that say do not leave the path, and you think, why do they need those signs up? Who's going to be dumb enough to leave the path here? Well, some people are dumb enough. I'm already feeling like this is a bit of a chaotic tour. I'm getting heavily distracted, making silly choices, scrambling up hillsides. Let's all just take a breather, try and be a bit more calm, a bit more sensible. I think it's the energy of the waterfalls. Maybe it didn't help that I just downed a coffee before I arrived here as well. Okay, we are getting to our first bridge, heading over the River Twiss for the first time. First of 2, I think. When we eventually cross over and head eastward to the River Doe, we will also get a glimpse of Ingleborough, one of the Yorkshire 3 peaks. I can tell you a little bit more about that once we get there. Now, whilst we're making our way to Thornton Force, why is it so special? I mentioned a couple of things in the intro, but there's a lot more to it than that. Now, the name Force comes from the old Viking word Foss, meaning waterfall. And something that's a little bit strange is that there are many falls around here that still go by the name Foss. But for some reason, Thornton Force, I presume, evolved from Foss to Force. So I don't know how it happens, how some names evolve, some names don't. But as we saw in a recent video up at lovely Seat in North Yorkshire, in some cases, map makers have got a lot to answer for. Mistakes, confusions in translations, so we sometimes end up with a few mysteries on our modern day maps. More coins. These look more recent. I suppose that's one issue with having something like that here or anywhere. You maybe just plant the idea in people's minds, and then when they see an opportunity, it just takes one person to start it off, and then it's a thing. So in a place with a lot of tourists passing through every week, like here or Bolton Abbey, you could easily end up with some unplanned money trees. So as you can imagine, pre-public opening in 1885, good luck getting across here. I suppose you could have crossed the river and somehow tried to scramble up here. Whoa. It's basically one big danger jacuzzi. Probably give you a good massage on your back and your shoulders though. The last one you ever have. Next stop, Thornton Force. Okay, we're kind of emerging out of the woodland now. Now so far, distance-wise, it's probably a bit bright for that, but we've been going 50 minutes already, and 1.7k, so not that far, 50 minutes. I can't believe we've been going that long. I thought I'd been here for about probably half an hour. Now, as we come around this bend to Thornton Force, you might start to see a visual detail that stands out. And it's this detail that tells us a long history and a long story behind how this all came to be. Now, full disclosure, I am not a geologist. This is a new subject to me, so I can only do my best to try and explain it in the simplest way I know how. And it's actually the walkway, which actually looks pretty precarious from back here, but it goes right through the middle underneath the water, supposedly. And it's that central line that's so key and important here, because above it, we've got limestone, and below, where the water's falling down into, is Ingletonian slate. Now, from what I understand, typically, what you get with a lot of rock faces is something called sometimes a rock record. There's deposition happening over millions of years, and you end up with this kind of timeline from bottom to top. But that timeline isn't always continuous, and it's the case of this here. And sometimes what happens is the deposition stops, and then over a long period of time, erosion happens, and then it starts again. And you end up with two different layers from entirely different time periods. Now, in geology terms, that's called an unconformity. Now, I'm going to just stop talking for a second so that I don't end up flying off of here. Now, the time difference estimated between these two layers, the slate and the limestone, is around 90 million years. And in fact, there is stone in this area, hundreds of millions of years old, that goes back before the British Isles even existed. Now that I'm here, I'm really questioning how far along you can get. But we'll get a little bit closer. That looks really sketchy. Luckily though, from just here, we can see this unconformity. And it's something you'll notice in different rock faces. Sometimes it's the direction of the rock. Here we've got horizontal limestone, below vertical slates. And so these two layers were formed in different time periods, different eras. So all of this at one point in time would have been under the sea, underwater. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to strap my camera in and we'll see if we can get a little bit further along and avoid disaster. And in case you're worried, if this made it into the video, don't worry, everything's probably fine. Sorry, this is probably not the best camera work. Apologies. Whoa. Oh. Andrew Ferguson. Wow. Okay, I didn't think we were going to be able to make that, but that's pretty crazy. Whoa! Okay, we've touched our 300 million year old rock. Let's try and make our way back. This is always the worst bit, isn't it? Climbing back somewhere. I'm going to strap you in again and fingers crossed everything goes fine. Okay. We made it. Just about. We did it. It's a bit of a leg buster, that. I think because I was a bit worried about slipping in, I just had my muscles tensed the whole walk along there. Okay, so we need to find somewhere to hide the giveaway book before we reach the end of today's trail. And it doesn't need to be somewhere dry. I've prepared this time, at least kind of. Please don't tell me we're going up there. Got some fishing going on. Danger Bridge. Okay, we're now 3 hours in, 8.5 miles. No, I'm just kidding. It's 85 minutes, only 2.7 kilometers. And I spotted something rather tasty in the distance. Here he is. Now, that's an ice cream. Good old 99. I'm old enough to remember when these were 99p. It's been a while though. Now, I've just remembered as well, there is an old disused quarry a little bit further down this track. And I think that's going to be the best place to hide this book. So let me finish this ice cream and now, in case you're wondering, why don't I just leave the book among these rocks here? I'm a bit worried about it getting eaten or nibbled at by animals. That's the only reason. Ooh, Twistleton Hall for sale. So this must be Twistleton. This is the place I mentioned earlier. I'm dying to know how much that cost for such an idyllic place. So we've got a huge quarry down there, and here, a bit of a beast. So that is Ingleborough. Hard to miss. Really hope that is Ingleborough, now that I've said it with such confidence. So one of the three Yorkshire Three Peaks. We've got Ingleborough, Whernside, Pennygent. Very popular hiking routes. A lot of people pick this out as a challenge to do all three in one day, which I think is about 24 miles. So it's very far. You can of course do them individually if you want to, but if you don't want to do even that, or you're not able to for whatever reason, you can get the train here, go to a nice cafe, sit on the riverside, all kinds of options with different levels of accessibility. Now over in the distance, don't know if the camera's going to be able to zoom in that far or not, but there's some white writing on the top of that building that says caves. Now that's the entrance to a place called White Scar Cave. It's a huge show cave in the Yorkshire Dales. One of three, I think. I should know. We've got White Scar Cave, Stump Cross Caverns, which we might be going to pretty soon for something exciting. I think there's one other one. If there is, I apologise. Sorry that I've forgotten. These sheep are pretty chill. I guess they get a lot of visitors. Now show caves, in case you don't know, or you're not from the area, are basically just caves that are safe to access for guided tours. They've typically been amended to make them accessible and safe without the need for experience or, professional equipment. And I can hear a bit of water in the distance, which must be the River Doe, which takes us back, I think, back down this way towards where we started. And the rest of the journey I don't know all that much about. So it may be that we just cut pretty much to the end from here. We'll see what we find. Okay, Twistleton Hall we just came from, for sale. And then Skerwith. Never heard of Skerwith. I don't have much to tell you about this area. So we're just in adventure mode now, exploration mode. And in case you want to skip ahead to the giveaway, I'll timestamp that as a chapter in the video. You can kind of imagine it without all the bridges and the steps and the handrails. And, it's an amazing place now, but when it was totally untouched, it must have been, I don't know, it's had like a different feel. Do you know what I mean? Does anybody know what all that is? I always wonder in rivers and canals, is it like a natural algae kind of thing, or is it some pollutant? I've never really looked into it. I think this is a little viewing platform, not a diving board. Please don't drop the camera. It's like a big version of the Strid, almost. Very narrow, but I assume just doesn't have the same depth. I guess that's probably safe. The only thing keeping us in the air. A couple of beams. More stairs. Whee! I'm starting to wonder if I've imagined this quarry. I don't think I have, but who knows? I did eat some mushrooms when we were up at Lovely Seat the other day. Coconut mushrooms, just to be clear. But, they do have a powerful effect. One thing I have noticed here as well, are on the entire trail so far, I've been keeping an eye out for litter, rubbish, trash, whatever you want to call it. So I'm normally ready. Bring a bag along to tidy up when necessary. And I haven't seen a single thing. So either this trail just does not attract. Ooh, ooh. Should we put the book in there? I can't think why not. Is there anything dangerous, bad in there? It's just bugs. Let's do it. Okay, now this book is wrapped not in kitchen cling film, but in a proper specialist weatherproof wrapping. It's not going to do any damage to any life in there or the environment that it's going to sit in, but it should keep it safe from the elements. There's a sticker on the back. There are 3 stickers inside and a handwritten note from me. So, oh, and the book, by the way, A Treasury of British Folklore. I picked this one up at, what was it called? Fountains Abbey. It's a National Trust book. Looks great. I haven't read it. I didn't want to give you a used book. Let's pop this in. Okay, there it is. And if I can get signal, I can tell you exactly where I am. So here's the what 3 words location. Thank you, by the way. A few of you recommended this as an idea. So I'm not going to name everybody just in case I miss somebody, but you know who you are. So thank you for this idea because it was a great one. This is the location. Vouch.change.alike. If you do find it, please let us know in the comment section. If you try to go for it and it's not there, please let us know as well. I'll pin the comment so that everybody knows that it's gone. I like that hiding space, but I feel it's not the most well hidden because, I mean, I was just walking past that and I went to look in it. So I'm sure plenty of people do. Would I take that out though if I saw that in there and I didn't know why it was there? I'm not sure. Anyway, let's see what happens. This is all just one big experiment anyway. And if you were part of the discussions recently about postal giveaways, they are going to be coming soon. I'm planning to do the first one in July. So that means if you're not local, you can be anywhere in the world, as long as there's a legal way for me to post the prize to you. And there'll be an announcement, firstly in a video, and then through a post on the community page on my YouTube channel as well. And you'll have plenty of time to enter, so don't worry. This is the old disused quarry that I was thinking of. Maybe could have been some good hiding spots here. And just in case anyone from the Waterfalls Trail sees this and is unhappy with me dropping a giveaway item in their land, well, I'm sorry, I guess. I've tried to do it in a safe and considerate way that won't harm the environment, the wildlife. So fingers crossed they don't mind. There's a bit of a one-off. So this is the old quarry site. Not much left. Ooh. Hello. Oh, that's a sheer drop. Can't really decipher much from, well, I can't at least, maybe somebody can. Not much here. Not even any graffiti really. Some little bits. Probably just about time to wrap up the video. The watch is saying 2 hours 43, actually not too bad. 6.56 kilometers. I don't know how accurate the distance is on these. Maybe it's accurate, but I've always assumed that it'll be a little bit off. So that's going to be a good place to end it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I feel like it's been a little bit hectic in certain parts. I had to try and steady myself down in the beginning there. But we've seen some cool stuff. A lot going on. The waterfall, Thornton Force, was pretty amazing. Let's see what happens with that book. Somebody's going to pick it up, I'm sure. And as always, today more than ever, because we've just passed so many things, if you've got something else, more information, more knowledge to add to the subject, please do let us know in the comments, because I can't speak for anyone else, but I'm sure it's not just me who loves to read the comments on these videos, because I always learn a ton more. And lastly, I want to give a massive thank you to everyone who's been watching, subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing, all the members on YouTube, because everything you've been doing is what makes these trips possible. Allows me to research, read, travel to all of these destinations. And hopefully soon we'll be popping a drone out into one or two of these locations and, fingers crossed, traveling a little bit further. But that's a plan to share on another day. So thank you so much. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Do let me know. If not, though, feel free. It's always welcome feedback. And fingers crossed, I'll see you next time.